Let's get into it. Um, Ancient cities, up until really modern times, ancient cities, they lived or died based on their water source. If the spring or the stream that was feeding a city became polluted, then everything else downstream would suffer. People got sick, crops got weakened, life inside the city kind of slowly deteriorated. But often the damage, it wouldn't show immediately. It would spread gradually. And that's the image behind the proverb here in 423. Keep your heart with all vigilance, for from it flow the springs of life. When Proverbs talks about the heart, it means way more than emotions. In Scripture, the heart, it's kind of the center of our being, of our personhood. It's our desires, it's our thoughts, our motivations, it's our will. It's the inner place from which our life flows out. And Proverbs here, it says guard it, watch over it carefully, not because the external world is the only danger, but because what happens inside you eventually shapes everything else in your life. And Jesus teaches us the same principle. He says, out of the heart come words and actions and reactions and desires. Eventually, the inner life, it becomes visible. And that's why Proverbs treats the heart like a source that must be protected. Because hearts, they drift slowly. Bitterness settles in gradually. Compromise develops quietly, and pride rarely announces itself um, big at the beginning. It's a slow process that builds, and very few people, they wake up one morning just instantly far from God. Usually, drift happens through what's been called accumulated neglect. It means small compromises repeated over time. It's unaddressed resentment. It's constant distraction. It's feeding our anxieties instead of truth. And eventually, what fills our heart begins shaping everything else downstream in our lives, our relationships, our speech, our choices, our perspectives. And that's why vigilance matters. It's not fear, it's not paranoia, um, but I think what Proverbs is saying here is that it's about awareness, paying attention to what is forming you, what voices you constantly absorb, what patterns you repeatedly feed, and what thoughts you kind of keep rehearsing. Because whatever consistently fills the heart eventually directs your life. Just like a polluted spring, everything affects kind of the city around it, around your life. And so what has been shaping your inner life lately? Not just your schedule, but your heart. What are you consistently feeding? What thoughts are you seeing take root? What emotions are quietly, slowly growing kind of beneath the surface? And honestly, what kind of fruit is that producing? What would it look like this week to guard your heart with more intentionality? Posting a guard around that spring. Maybe limiting some of the voices that constantly stir fear or anger. Maybe it's just turning things off that you're listening to that are stirring that. Maybe it's creating more quiet space with God, allowing Him to speak, allowing time to listen. Maybe it's addressing something you've allowed to sit unresolved for way too long and it's kind of been festering. Because over time, what fills the heart will flow into everything else. Wherever you find yourself, God goes with you today.